Hey diggers, we've got something special coming up for you. Want to meet your favorite Pantheon stars in person? Ever thought about having a good time in Nashville? Well, let's combine them both. Pantheon Podcasts is one of the lead sponsors of the Rockin' Pod Expo coming up in Nashville. But hey, let's have our friends at Rockin' Pod tell you all about it.
This August will rock as Rockin' Pod returns to Nashville. This annual convention brings together rock artists, fans, and podcasters for an unforgettable rock experience. Meet Billy Sheehan, Ron Keel, Ricky Rachtman, Mark Goodman, Matt Pinfield, Don Jameson of That Metal Show, drum legends Carmine Appice and Vinny Appice, along with current and former members of Winger, LA Guns, Accept, Roxy Blue, and more. Panels, signing sessions, and vinyl and memorabilia vendors, all available to you at Rockin' Pod. Music podcasters from all over North America will be appearing on site for live interviews, networking, and speaking sessions. Got a music podcast? Register and join us. Rockin' Pod weekend kicks off with a pre-party concert featuring former Tesla guitarist Tommy Skio and his new band Resist and Bite. Plus, Ron Keel Acoustic, Rock United, and a rare hair set featuring many surprise guests. Rockin' Pod Weekend, August 6th through the 8th in Nashville, Tennessee. Tickets, VIP, podcaster registration, and discounted hotel rooms are available now at rockandpod.com. Rockin' Pod, brought to you by DBG Productions, Brad Lee Entertainment, and in Captia.
So come to Nashville, August 6th through 8th, for what promises to be a most excellent time. Come see Miss Pamela DeBar with her pajama party, Brad Page of I'm in Love with That Song, Carmine and Vinny Appice of Hangin' and Bangin', Mistress Carrie of The Mistress Carrie Show, Jason and Baco of Cobras and Fire, Jay of the Hooks Rocks podcast, the Rock and Roll Librarian, Shelley Sorensen, Aaron Camaro and Chris Sinzak of Decibel Geek, and of course, yours truly, the Rock and Roll Archaeologist. Podcasting and rock and roll. What could be better summer fun? Friday, August 6th to Sunday, August 8th, Nashville. It's all happening.
This feels like a professional podcast now, boys.
I know, it's weird.
We're all sitting at a table here.
Hey, you must be coming up on, or you're past 1 year.
June.
It wasn't till June that you started?
Yeah.
Well, those first couple of months after.
That voice you hear is Chris Letard.
Hello.
Everyone.
Hello.
Spared no expense.
When did you start listening, Chris? Are you an OG youngster?
Immediately, yeah.
You guys have a napkin in here?
No. Use your sleeves.
Are we recording?
I'm always recording.
Jesus Christ.
Mike's got an Italian sub going.
This is a Neil Young
thanks, Chris.
podcast. We're always recording, Shu.
Oh, that's right. We got it, yeah.
Audio verite.
Audio verite.
We got to capture the
You're right.
moment of the sub.
My bad.
We're sitting here. I got a table set up in my room finally. Mike's loudly crunching the paper. We have a guest.
Mike wipes his hands and his mouth with the paper bag like that Bill Burr skit.
What? I don't
fucking animal.
I don't have what? I don't have any napkins.
Use
What
the
do you want me
fucking
to use?
bag.
My sleeve.
Then he uses the fucking bag.
It's got oil and
like an
vinegar
animal.
on it.
It
I'm gonna
annoys
stain
me.
my shirt.
Scratching his back.
Annoys me
like
how
a fucking bear.
annoys me how good your Bill Burr is.
It is a good Bill Burr. Jesus, that's awesome.
Jesus.
So
like a fucking animal. You know? No, it's unbelievable. No.
You can't fucking say anything these days.
So we got the boys here for Broken Arrow, and I brought in a guest. He is one of my two Neil Young gurus, Chris Letard here. Chris actually saw the Broken Arrow tour.
Yeah.
That I
Wicked
did,
jealous.
yeah. I was a youngster. Well,
An
I was
actual
young,
youngster.
I was actually
He was a young youngster.
17 going on 18 that summer.
So was that 96?
Yep. Wow. Yeah. The only memory of that show was, of course, Neil breaking a string on Like a Hurricane and then just going for like 11 more minutes with one broken string.
Yeah.
It's the only real memory I have of it.
And that was at Great Woods, you said?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is now what? Fucking some
The
corporation.
Xfinity Center.
Xfinity, yeah. That's where Luke and I saw him.
That's where we saw him, yeah.
With Promise of the Real. How many times have you seen him in general? Can you count? Do you know?
So that summer and the one after would be that one, then the Horde Fest. 2000 was Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. in Boston at the Centrum. Something in between, and then a weird one in Worcester sometime around 2008-ish.
Was that with Wilco?
No, I would have remembered.
Because I think that was
Wilco.
2007.
I might have got
Was
there
that
late.
Was that the one after Chrome Dreams 2?
I believe so. It was a super weird show, and I hate to admit that I actually left early.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
You gotta
It was-
go. I'm sorry, you can't be here.
Yeah, well, hey, I got a good explanation.
Okay.
And I won't blow it, but it was like the year after I had a big cancer surgery.
Oh,
like, you
geez.
know this whole story.
Yeah.
But like, long story short is you get depressed.
Yeah.
And I'm at my favorite artist show, and it hit me. I gotta go home now. There's too many people here. This is nuts.
Yeah.
And I had just taken my mother, and she was ready to go anyway. So we left. But, I mean, it was enjoyable. I just don't remember it, and probably because of my mental state at the time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, we're sorry for shaming you.
Well, don't you
then.
feel like a dick now, Luke?
No, in fact, I'm going to scold Chris for starting the podcast off on such a depressing note.
I know, right? Hey, well, you asked.
I'm just kidding.
I'm honest.
I'm just fucking with
Well,
you.
we're going to be talking about cancer in this episode
That's true,
anyway.
yeah.
So, way to start it off, Chris.
That's right.
Way to set the tone.
I will say, Chris.
You can also, if you need to, you can crank that puppy up if you.
Yeah,
so you're not
Yeah, you can get it
leaning
right up next to it if you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just kind of so I could see my notes, you know what I mean?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
can't.
took notes
I'm
for
gonna-
us. Took notes.
So did I. Got them all right here, boys.
Yeah, I got them all on my pad of paper that you hate.
Yeah, I
I
got.
like paper
I got a
also.
little thing
You're
here.
not yellow today, though, Shu. That's a first.
It's not legal.
I ran out of the. Yeah, this is the
this is the
illegal
under
pad.
18.
Right. Illegal pad.
Jesus. Wait, Shu, you have some kind of fucked up drink for us to try?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess should we start getting into it first? Because
Yeah,
it's a
so-
shot. All I got to do is pour
Oh,
two
it's a
liquors
shot.
into a
Oh,
shot,
all right. Yeah. So
and it's sure to be disgusting.
well, before we do that, I got a
Yeah.
Bluetooth. So we're gonna try this new Bluetooth setup. I'm hoping it works because we've had
Okay.
problems with the iPad in the past. But let me just try a few things here.
Speaking of Bluetooth, thanks to AKG.
Okay, you guys can all hear that, right?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Unfortunately, yes.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah.
Let's try another one.
Oh,
Yeah, I
oh
love
yeah.
it. Sounds awesome.
Okay. Oh, I got a few new ones. Let's try some new ones.
Okay.
I'm eating dicks and I'm getting drunk.
That was a good night.
Let's try one
I
more.
stayed out too late then.
I'm gonna put a dick in my mouth. I'm eating dicks and I'm getting drunk.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm gonna put a dick in my mouth.
Yep. Good times. Over at the boat in Drake it.
Nice new shoe drops.
And with that, let's start our Neil Young podcast.
Okay.
This is our Neil Young podcast where we mostly talk out of our ass while going through the works of Mr. Young.
You're lucky I can't play two drums at
Mike
the same time.
Shue and the Condon Boys, Trans and Harvest and Illinois. We're gonna sit and listen to each one. It's long may you young.
Last one. Don't take that one.
Sorry for defiling the world's greatest podcast theme song here on Long May You Young, the only podcast that covers Neil Young's catalog by album, episode by episode, now with new bonus monster episodes. Can we talk about the one we just did?
Yeah, because it already came out. Came out last week.
No.
Yes, it did.
No,
Yes.
the one we just recorded?
You guys need to remember the timeline of when people are hearing
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Oh, right. Yes, of course it came out, Luke. Shut the hell up. Yes, with like monster episodes, like our latest with Astrid Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
It was awesome.
So we all knew this. Chris doesn't know this. So it's like a weird thing. The youngsters already know,
That's all right. I won't tell anybody.
but
Well, they already
Until-
know now.
and-
Yeah, they
Until-
know now.
Yeah, they know now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
when
but
they
he
hear
could
this.
tell some. He could go post on Long May You Young and say, "Hey, I know who it is."
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Isn't
tell
that
everybody.
weird?
You know what you should do?
All
you
the
should
5 people I know.
You should get some kind of wagering going first,
Yeah.
right? Make a little money.
Make some money.
Yeah.
Like, who do you think is going to be
Get
on?
some kind of a bracket.
Right.
It is March Madness, right?
That's true.
That's right.
Yeah, there you
so you
go.
can say who's going to be on the next monster episode. Is it going to be, Astrid Young, David Briggs, or who else? Ernie Bach.
Weird Al.
Weird Al. No, Weird Ray Yurkovic.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
He was a good sport. Did you see all the back and forth on
How
Facebook?
could it?
he had?
No,
Wait,
I didn't.
I love
didn't
that
see
you threw in Briggs.
Why? Well, Briggs is a big part of this episode.
He's trying to segue, Russ.
I'm trying to set the tone. Thanks for ruining my planned fucking itinerary.
My favorite thing about Mike when Mike has a sub, he wants to get to that theme song ASAP because then he just goes to town.
I know, it's like, hit the theme song. This is a great sub. Thank you, Chris.
Hey,
where's
no
this
problem.
from?
This is Presto Pizza, Lunenburg.
In Lunenburg.
Which is right across from where Whalen Park used to be.
Oh, Whalen Park.
For a whale of a time.
Yeah, I've had a whale of a time.
Me too.
And that rickety old wooden roller coaster.
The Comet. I worked there. I made fried dough.
Did you work there?
I got fired.
Oh.
The lady.
What'd you do to the fried dough?
The boss thought I was stealing money, which I definitely wasn't.
Did you take a dump in the fryolator?
I don't know.
That would have been confectionery sugar on
Guys,
it.
he got fired.
Oh, there he is. You're ready to be a dad. You're ready.
Wait, Russ, say it again.
No. Hey, you're gonna do a drop. Go ahead. I have a little bit of memories from Whalen Park. That place fucking scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, for people who don't know, there was like a small, not local amusement park. It wasn't like a big national one like Six Flags or.
What the hell was that?
Or
The
King's
only
Dominion.
comparison was Canopy Lake, but Canopy's much bigger.
Canopy's bigger and safer.
Whalen Park was 10 acres.
Maybe?
It wasn't, maybe 8.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big.
What year?
2000, maybe 2001.
Yeah,
You started.
before I even went into high school. I think it was closed.
Yeah.
That roller coaster, a couple times I thought I was going to die. It would make the worst sounds as you were going up. You could hear the wood cracking.
Yeah.
I believe it was one of the only wooden in the country.
I think there's one left, and it's in Pittsburgh at Kennywood Park. And that's a huge wooden one, which I still wouldn't go on because it's like 100 years old. Why would you keep that up?
Yeah.
Didn't the one at Whalen go into a tunnel too?
Towards the end, they added the tunnel, the black hole.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It's the one edition. They just
make it dark for a minute. That's great.
They just put a big wooden shed around it for a second.
That's what it was, basically.
Yeah, it really was.
Like one of those collapsible carports. Yeah.
It's true.
Isn't that crazy, kids? You're in a tunnel. Really?
It didn't even really get that dark.
They just put a fucking church tent.
You can watch it from the water slide.
Yeah. All right. That's thanks for tuning in to Podcast Kingdom, the latest podcast about amusement parks and wooden roller coasters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, if you're on, this is episode 45, by the way, everyone. So pretty impressive. If you don't know that we're going to talk about other shit at this point, then I really don't know what to tell you.
That's right. That's bait and switch.
Yeah.
I want to hear about Neil Young. Nope. You're going to hear about regional amusement parks.
And we're going to talk about this album a lot because this album is. I'll say it.
Awesome.
This album's fucking great.
Yeah, I've always loved this album.
This album's fucking.
And it blows me away that critics did not like this album at all.
No, it got really bad. Not really, but poor reviews.
That's wild.
When it came out, I wrote down some words I read in some of the reviews, like mailing it in, lack of strong material, uninspired, pointless jams, no direction. There were things like that said about this album.
Can you? Good fucking God! Like, and again, but he knew it too. He went into it knowing it.
Well, I don't know if he went into knowing. Yeah, he did say, he had a quote where he said they're really going to shit all over this one.
I got it.
You got it? Yeah.
He says, they'll shit on this one. I've given them a moving target. There's enough weaknesses in it for them to go for it. It's purposefully vulnerable and unfinished. I wanted to get one under my belt without David.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's why it sounds like this, because he didn't have Briggs. And dare I say, if he didn't have Briggs for Ragged Glory, it would probably sound very similar. Because Briggs had a whole process where he put Crazy Horse, he rehearsed Crazy Horse, so when Neil walked in the studio, they were ready to go. You know, he pounded the material into their head. He got the engineer, the sound, and everything ready to go. So this is a crazy. Was this the first Crazy Horse album without Briggs?
It must be.
Yeah.
This is the 10th Crazy Horse album.
Was Briggs involved in Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere? He was.
Yeah.
Right?
Was he involved in Life?
I believe he was. Remember, because he got pissed that
That's right.
he didn't like that version of When Your Lonely Heart Breaks.
Well, he did. At this point, he had done 18 of Neil's albums.
Yeah.
Which is an insane amount for one producer to work on one artist. I don't know, unless like maybe that's not. I don't know. Like Rick, the only other person I can think of is Rick Rubin working with specific artists constantly.
Like the Chili Peppers.
Yeah, or anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this is the first Crazy Horse album without Briggs.
I love that quote because it shows how self-aware Neil is, but also just he doesn't really seem to give a shit in this quote. Does that make sense? Like he just kind of. He's like, yeah, they're gonna shit on this one. I know it. It feels unfinished, and I love that he called it Broken Arrow, and then he says that like, I gave them a moving target, because the album to me, you guys always go kind of with the one word thing, and I wrote down the word directionless, because I feel like, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but there's really no. This is unlike I feel like any album we've covered up to this point, because it starts with those 3 huge jams, and then it kind of like gets more concise, and then he ends acoustic for one song, and then does literally through one fan microphone a Jimmy Reed cover, and it's not cohesive, and I don't mean that it's bad. It's just it feels vulnerable. It feels unfinished. You can feel sadness in it. You can feel like not melancholy like some of his other albums, but like. It just feels like I don't know. It feels intentionally directionless, if I can say that.
Yeah, I think it captures, I guess, in that sort of audio verite way that we were joking about at the beginning, a time, it seems to me, with everything with Briggs and stuff, it's kind of Neil just being like, this is what is right now, and here you go.
Right.
And like you said, Luke, him also saying, yeah, the critics or whoever the fuck is going to think whatever the fuck they think, but here you go. You know? And that is, to me, what is captured. And it's also just a lot of great fucking shit. And I don't agree with that shit about whatever that quote was about the meaningless jams.
Pointless
jams.
Yeah.
Bizarre quote.
Yeah, we got like what? 3, 4, 8, 9-minute songs.
Yeah,
right.
But
the
they're great
songs are
as a fan.
25 minutes for just the first 3 songs.
Yeah, and the only cohesiveness I'm really looking at is it's like, is it Neil or is he talking about everyone? It's like we're walking through the world alone.
Yeah,
this album's very cohesive, and a lot of the songs are about, hey, I'm alone, I'm in my car, I'm walking around, I'm chilling out.
And I think he felt that loneliness. After Briggs passed away, he said that left a huge void.
So that's got to have something to do with it.
Briggs was his partner.
Yeah,
and pretty much he was one of the few guys who told Neil when he sucked. He really did.
Probably one of the only ones.
Yeah, I mean there was only a couple people that could do that.
Him and Kershaw probably.
Kershaw. Well, Kershaw usually had a gun. So you would just say, yeah, you bet I suck.
Yeah, but if Kershaw,
put the gun down, Rusty.
Even if Kershaw just had a match, you were still terrified.
Right.
You know what I will say, though, is... What kind of a fucking douche even says something like that about a jam? What's the point of any jam?
Well, some people don't like the long jams.
Yeah, but like it's a jam. You don't go breaking down a fucking jam. You let a jam be a jam.
Well, there are good jams and then there are really bad jams.
I understand that, but I don't think that any of them are, to use a word like pointless, assuming that any jam would have a point.
Well, the point is to jam.
Exactly.
Right.
So how can a jam ever be pointless or pointful?
Well, I think that a lot of these critics
they just love fucking with. They just love that they can't pin down Neil.
I think
they just love that they, you know what I mean? They want to be the ones that are like, no, I've got Neil figured out, and this isn't Neil.
I think a lot of them at that time in the 90s were like, they had Ragged Glory, you had Harvest Moon,
right.
You had some really great albums. And they were just expecting it was kind of like when Harvest came out and people were expecting more of the same.
Right. Yeah. But they should know better.
It's also, you gotta
right?
remember...
I mean, at this point, it's been what, like fucking 30 years, But
you gotta remember the whole point of a music critic is to make people read their reviews.
Right. Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Everyone's gonna be reading their review on this album. It's called Broken Arrow, which, it's weird to me that he called it Broken Arrow. I love that he called it Broken Arrow, but do you think when people saw, he's got an album called Broken Arrow, do you think they were expecting another version of Broken Arrow?
Like Buffalo Springfield, Broken Arrow? Yeah, the reference there is pretty obvious. I always thought it was like this is him making peace with Briggs, because him and Briggs had like a real stormy relationship, and they wouldn't talk for years at a time. In fact, they weren't really talking before Briggs died because of the whole Pearl Jam thing. Briggs wanted to produce Mirrorball, and Neil went with Brendan O'Brien, and Briggs was fucking pissed, and he dumped Crazy Horse again, and they were pissed at him. But then, and then Briggs came with, hey, look, I've got cancer. I need to talk to you, know, and Neil went. And so I think and what came out of that conversation in Shaky, he said that there are things I'm going to take to the grave that David Briggs told me. But he also said, David Briggs said, keep it close to the source, keep it simple, keep it focused. And I think that's what this album is. This is as raw as you get. This is, they were doing these live shows at what was the name of that place? It was right near the ranch. Oh, Old Princeton Landing. Oh, okay. So they did like 2 weeks at Old Princeton Landing, and then on their off days they would go in and they would record this stuff. And so it was just kind of like they were continuing the gig. They were keeping it as real and as raw and as focused as possible. So they were, and they already did some other gigs around the area. So once they went into this residency at Princeton Landing, they were firing on all cylinders. So once they stepped into the studio, it was just, okay, we're going to do another gig today. Mm-hmm. And that's as close to the source as you can get. And I think people that shit on this album, we're just expecting something tighter, I think, like Ragged Glory.
Well, it came right after Mirrorball.
Right.
So maybe there was that as well.
Yeah.
Unless you count the Jarmusch thing.
No, that's a film score.
Yeah.
On a side note, did Jim Jarmusch really follow you on Instagram, Russ?
He liked our post.
He liked the post.
On Long May You Young, not on my...
Oh, on Long May You Young.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. We'll try to call him.
Well, there's a nice segue. Yeah. We should get some social media stuff.
Oh, right. There we go.
We did get a couple new reviews. If you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, we will read whatever you write. So there's 2 new ones. This is another one from Nick Anderhoe, who's left a few reviews, and I love every one of them. He wrote... I hope you guys caught... He wrote NY's London concert. I hope you guys caught the London concert on the archives. It was extremely awesome. Ambulance Blues, Mellow My Mind, and Oh Lonesome Me are among the 27 tunes, and Ben Keith is all over it. The punches came fast and hard, lying on my back in the schoolyard. That's from Nick Anderhoe. And then one more from... which I love that there's 27 tunes on it and that he references that. There's another one from Crosby's Mustache. It says, listen all night long. He said, on the host's favorite song, Make Love to You, Steven Stills sounds like Chef from South Park.
Yeah, that's right.
He does a little bit.
I want to make love to you, baby.
So go my chocolate salty balls.
Oh, yeah. It's probably going to take all night.
Who's, is that Isaac Hayes? That's
yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
I was just record shopping and I saw that record and I was like...
Did you pass?
Yeah, of course I passed, but if it was $4, I would have bought it.
Yeah.
But it was like 18.
That's kind of my thing for...
It's like I told you the other day, I didn't pick up Trans for $8 because it didn't look like it was in good shape and I don't love it.
I got Trans for 10.
Ooh.
On Facebook Marketplace.
All right.
Someone on Instagram named Chris Latart mentioned us in a comment.
No,
really?
Oh, boy.
No, that was the one you...
I did at one point, yeah.
Yeah, you posted about the Crazy Horse album.
Yeah.
On Twitter, Bill Strajewski. I still don't know if I'm saying that, Bill. Sorry, man. FYI, Jim Jarmusch also did a great documentary on the Stooges a few years ago called Gimme Danger, which I think is on Amazon.
Okay.
If you're a Stooges
We just
fan.
had fucking Astrid Young on, which was amazing. That was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But we would love to have Jim Jarmusch on too.
Yeah.
So
of course.
That was a weird shoe.
That was a strange
Well, I feel like
segue.
People have been... I'm about to read
Yeah.
something else about someone saying something about Jarmusch.
It's like,
okay.
Mike's like, yeah, this is delicious Italian stuff. And Russell's like, yeah, we just had Astrid Young on.
No, not at all.
She might be Italian.
Yeah.
Do you not see the connection? And he just read something about Jim Jarmusch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which I was about to also read something about Jarmusch. We just brought up Jim Jarmusch. You asked me if he liked the thing.
Yeah.
I brought up Astrid Young because we briefly mentioned it in the top, but I thought that that monster episode was fucking awesome.
It was great.
So my brain is thinking monster episode. I would love to have Jim Jarmusch on, but I was saying we just had Astrid Young on.
I'm just saying it was,
Not that it was
All
not
right.
a difference
Are
between
we gonna
a
have to
sub
pull
and
this
a
car
fucking-
over?
That's cool. That's all right.
Is a pretty easy connection.
okay.
There are two podcasts going on here. This one and the one in Russ's head.
Yeah, that's how it always is.
Yeah.
And that's why they like me the best.
Oh, that's right. Can I finish my Twitter thing?
Go
or
ahead.
Do you want to take it? Do
You mean about Jim Jarmusch?
Yeah.
Which makes,
Here, I'll
it's
throw
weird
this
that
at
I
you. Why
brought him
don't you
up.
make a non sequitur here?
Okay.
All right. Vinyl Junkie
Jar
74,
Jar Binks.
which is Scott Parks. If he's talking about the theory on your pitch to Jarmusch to Neil Young about doing the movie soundtrack. If that wasn't exactly the way this movie was pitched to Neil, I'll be devastated.
I actually
Seriously,
agree with
that really is one of the best.
That-
and then
that whole episode could have been just that pitch. That would have
yeah, really, it would have been awesome. The guys over at Sabbath Bloody Podcast, which is excellent if you're a Black Sabbath fan. They do the same thing we do, but with Black Sabbath albums. What's cool is the host, he's a bass player. So he like plays the bass and talks about Geezer Butler and stuff. It's an excellent podcast.
Are they Pantheon?
No, they are not.
Okay.
Am I not supposed to say it if they're not Pantheon?
No, I just was curious.
Oh, okay. I don't think they're Pantheon,
should
but they're
get
still
on it.
pretty awesome. He says, listening now, it would be cool if we asked if what movie Neil Young should score, or if there's a movie that would be better if Neil Young scored it. He didn't really name one. He said it would be cool if Neil scored a really polished visual movie. I'm thinking like La La Land. But not that, as it's a dancing musical deal. Actually, if you took out the orchestrated music, leaving the dumbass crooning, but had Neil going nuts with feedback, that would be art.
I feel like if you just did Neil doing Downtown to La La Land.
Oh, and then Mark Shea at Performance Anxiety tweeted, and I want to thank him because he's the guy who hooked us up with Astrid Young.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I want to say thanks to Mark Shea. Performance Anxiety, another excellent podcast, also on the Pantheon Podcast Network. This is his tweet. 10 songs better than Long December. Angel by Jimi Hendrix. Cortez the Killer by Neil Young. For the Time Being by Medicine Boy. Decoration Day by the Drive-By Truckers. I Ran by Flock of Seagulls. Illegal Alien by Genesis.
Okay, not that.
Squeeze Me Macaroni by Mr. Bungle. White and Nerdy by Weird Al. Dominic the
that's
Donkey by Lou Monte. And I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing by the New Seekers.
Fuck you. Fuck this guy.
Mark Shea, that's an excellent list. I'm going to make a playlist on Spotify.
That is hilarious.
That's fucking awesome.
Ridiculous.
That's great. Do you have any more stuff?
I posted on the Broken Arrow on Facebook just now.
Oh, yeah, we got some good comments on that.
Got some good comments. A lot of people, this is their first time. Adam Hollander, who's a top fan, said, today will be my first listen. I've heard great things. And John Locke, regular youngster, I hate to admit it, but Friday was the first time I ever listened to this album. Not sure why, because this record is absolutely amazing. And we'll get into this part. Someone named August Carlson wrote Interstate, which is a bonus track from the vinyl copy.
Oh, right.
Which I got, so we'll listen
Good.
to it. He says, is probably my all-time favorite Neil tune. Something about it invokes unexplainable emotions, and I agree. It's when you guys hear it, we obviously can't play the whole thing, but it's on YouTube. So
Okay.
and then I do want to read, there's a bunch of comments. We obviously can't read them all. Knives Millions says it's incredibly underrated. I was walking down Main Street, not the sidewalk, the Main Street.
Yeah, I love that.
He says some of Neil's best lyrics. And then I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Weird Ray Yerkowitz comments.
Hey, Weird Ray Yerkowitz.
But he says, I know I'm in the minority here, but it's probably my favorite album for a combination of quality and nostalgic reasons. This continues the trend of great 90s guitar tone combined with psychedelic, lonely, kind, distant lyrics that carry on from Sleeps with Angels and Mirrorball. Definitely feels like the American West. This album came out the summer after I graduated high school. I was cutting grass for a school district in suburban Chicago and rolled up to Rainbow Records in a tractor on release day during my lunch break.
A tractor? That's so Neil.
I saw Neil for the first time later that summer on my 18th birthday during the Broken Arrow tour. I traveled back to Chicago via Greyhound from Murray, Kentucky for that show. Greyhound bus trips are often memorable for the weird characters that you encounter, and this was no exception. And then he says a few more. But he says, it was the first of many Neil shows and just fed my obsession. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was...
Pressure's on now. We can't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Or else we'll fuck up Weird Ray.
He's already fucked up.
It's already weird. Jeez. All right, so I'm making this cocktail, which I know is going to be disgusting, but we'd have to try because it's called the Big Time.
What are you putting in it?
So it's Courvoisier, which is a cognac.
I gotta get a squirt ready to chase this
Right,
with.
yeah, absolutely. That's why I bought the squirt, because this may really suck. And then it's Courvoisier mixed with Pernod, which is kind of like a anise.
Okay.
Like a Sambuca-ish type of thing.
Right.
Not as strong as Sambuca, though.
Yeah.
And you mix them together in a shot glass, and then you just take the shot.
This is called a Big Time?
This is the Big Time.
Big Time.
That's right. Talking about a friend of mine here.
Full disclosure, this is my number one song on this album.
Is it really? Big Time is?
Might not be my number one drink right now, but...
It's your number one, huh?
It really is.
Wait,
yeah.
you were fucking drooling over loose change to me and Shu for like 2
Yeah,
days.
you texted one of those Luke texts. Loose Change is the greatest song ever created by humans and robots.
That's on my list, too. Are we taking these here? All right, we're going to drink this drink called a Big Time. Here.
This is called a Big Time. This is Courvoisier and Pernod. Let's see how this does. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers, fucking Neil, man.
To Neil. Fucking Neil, man.
Not bad.
Hey, booze is booze.
It's not that good either.
I mean, we shot it.
Oh, it burns.
Black licorice.
Yeah, it's got a little... Yeah, it's definitely Zambuca-like.
Well, if you guys want another one, go ahead.
I didn't hate it. I probably won't take another one.
That's terrible.
I don't think it's horrible.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either.
I didn't hate it. But I am.
Yeah, me neither, but Luke and I like drinking.
Yeah,
And we're talking about the Big Time.
we're the most alcoholic on the
Talking about
podcast.
a gold mine.
Unfortunately,
Except that shot was not.
That was not gold.
I had a long conversation with like a super great neighbor. We sit by the fire, we drink till 2 a.m. and talk about stuff. And he goes, "You know what, Chris? All alcohol is the same. Your liver filters it. It's all the same. After that day, I can drink anything now." And that's not good.
I think he cast a spell on you.
Yeah, that sounds...
Wait, is your
Sounds
neighbor
like-
an alcohol wizard?
Right?
No, he's an
he looks like he
alcoholic.
might be a...
Alcoholic.
He is an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Is your neighbor Beelzebub? Did you sell your soul for the...
Is he the kind of guy that can drink hot Mad Dog first thing in the morning?
He looks like maybe he could.
Yeah.
Wait, did you get really drunk with him 4 hours before you had to go in and do a morning radio show at 6 a.m. and they say something like this?
Dixon, I'm getting drunk.
In all fairness, it was mango tequila and some kind of weird blue drink.
It did look delicious.
It was weird.
And with that, I'm going to put a dick in my mouth.
Look, they were gummy dicks. They weren't real dicks.
Blue drinks are weird. There's no...
So, Chris,
That's ridiculous.
did we post a picture of the
We did a while ago, but we'll post it again
Yeah.
when this episode comes out.
Are you in the process of creating a comic, or is
had
this as far as you've gotten?
days on end of working in the election in November, and I was just doodling while I was listening to you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris is a kind of a visual
Just-
graphic artist.
If I had time, yeah.
But what Russ is referring to is he made a cover for a potential comic book called Neil Young as the Time Traveling Vampire.
I love it.
It's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Dude, you have to write this.
You were gonna write it. I was gonna.
Oh,
draw
that's
it.
right. I'll write it. I'll,
There it is.
I'll get to it. But he
And
also
Chris also like carves cool shit out of wood and everything too. He's a real artist.
Do you have a plug we can just throw in right now for your business that you do?
No plug.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sure?
He does like cool chainsaw art.
Yeah,
and
it's
shit.
been.
Do you do
that's-
chainsaw carving?
It's a long story, but it's been 3 years since I've really done it full time. So
Yeah.
if people start sending orders in, I can't fill them.
Okay.
But
What
if
about,
you want to
what
see,
about one really expensive custom order or something?
well, yeah, a
You know.
few grand, but
Yeah.
Like a titty bird. Like a 6 foot
big
titty
ass
bird.
titty
Dude,
bird.
some
Right.
youngster
Put a
out
bird on
there
it.
will.
Yeah.
Some
So-
youngster out there will put down a grand
yeah.
for a big fucking titty.
But
bird.
if anybody wants to see
Rocco.
the cool pictures, like check out Whalum Woodcraft on Instagram or wherever.
did you forget
I
your
do like
own?
that you don't know
He
your
doesn't
own.
even
been
know
pretty
his own
really.
business.
I got really busy and I had like 5,000 emails I had to clean up a few years ago.
But Chris also brought in a Greendale graphic novel.
Yeah.
Which
That's
looks
very
fucking
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Before we get too into this, I do want to talk to you, Chris, for a second, because I have two I call my Neil gurus in my life. It's you and my buddy Alex. But you love Neil, and your basement is filled with
stuff.
1 million records, cassettes, VHS shit, and you...
I like tangible media.
At least once a week will drunk text me around 11:30 at night about whatever Neil or Tom Petty album you're listening to at the time. So.
Yeah, the last week one was somebody hooked me up with some edibles, and I was sitting in my chair for the first time in a long time just listening to an entire album all the way through. And it
Was it Tom Petty?
I think it was a Neil album.
Oh, okay.
I don't even remember.
I don't remember either.
What's the
It
best?
might have been Harvest Moon.
Okay.
Because the sound on that record is
that's good for edibles.
Yeah, it's great.
Definitely. What's the best Tom Petty album?
my favorite. Pack Up the Plantation Live is my favorite, if we can say live albums.
Wow.
There. Yeah.
I don't know enough Tom
Otherwise,
Petty.
I just scored the Wildflowers package. That's amazing.
Jeez.
But that's without the Heartbreakers.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was with the Heartbreakers, except for Stan Lynch. That's how much he hated Stan Lynch.
Yeah, I know. And then
He invited all the Heartbreakers to play on his solo album,
Yep.
except for the drummer, because he fucking hated his
they
guts.
always
Did he-
report that this was a solo effort.
Yeah, but
Did
they
he-
were all on
They were
it.
there.
Yeah.
Did he sue all the Heartbreakers because they hummed songs that sounded like songs he had written previously?
Speaking of Heartbreakers, that fucking shot sucked, and I want to get the taste
I know, is
out
that
of my mouth.
awful? Yeah, I have a
another one.
shit. I have like a
I'm
mop and
fine.
blow taste.
I'm ready to have.
Fucking
I'm ready to
amateurs.
have some of your subs, so I can get the.
If
fucking
you want,
taste
you want
out
half
it.
of that, buddy, you
I
can
might,
take. You
yeah.
take half. It's good. It's
I'll
a good
split
one.
a half in half.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, so but I thought of you too, Chris, because did you guys watch The Last Blockbuster on Netflix?
No, not yet.
Oh, not
I
yet.
have 9 minutes left. That's why I was a little late, because I wanted to finish it.
It's fucking awesome.
so good.
It made me. It
I
gave
wanna
me
go
all
there
these
so bad.
like chills. I kind of do too.
I want to get on it. I wish there was still, maybe post-pandemic, if there's a spot to rent to open a cafe called like the Tangible Media Cafe.
Do you
where
think it
it's-
would work? Something like that still?
I don't know.
I
like,
think so. I
here.
think the retro.
You know,
nostalgia.
make it
thing.
look like an old rental store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have records, have VHS tapes on the wall.
But I thought of you. If you don't know, The Last Blockbuster is a documentary on Netflix about the last blockbuster in existence. But I thought of Chris because your basement is literally a treasure trove of VHSs and vinyl records and cassettes and stuff like that. But it made me think of the last VHS that I remember renting. It was the first, not the last one I remember renting, but it was the first rated R movie I rented with friends, and we didn't tell our parents, and it was Speed. And I rewatched it today.
Wow. What, the VHS tape?
I can't. It's first of all, it's terrible. Like it's not. It's. I mean, they like they fucking make a bus jump 50 feet. It's so
Yeah.
stupid. But it was so good, and I just remember. I don't know. Do you have that movie where it's so bad, but you just all you have are good memories of it? Do you have a movie like that in your head?
Cannonball Run.
I've never seen that.
Oh, yeah. It's probably the most politically incorrect movie you could probably watch today.
I don't even know what it's about.
It's Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise. It's about that race they have across the country called the Gumball Rally. And so a bunch of rich guys get these souped-up cars, and they race from the East Coast to the West Coast. And the prize is like, it's done for pride. I don't think there's any money. But
It's just for fun.
Yeah.
They recently, years ago, 20 years ago, the Jackass guys, Bam Margera and them, they got into it.
Oh, did they get
Oh,
into
they were
it?
into it.
Oh,
Like they had
wow. Okay.
there's a whole video of them doing the Gumball Run. Then they did the Europe one. They
Oh, I
almost
didn't know
got
there
sent
was-
back to America.
Yeah. Yeah, so these guys are, zooming. But Cannonball Run's based on that. You got Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds are a team. And then Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin dress up as priests.
oh my god.
And they drive in a Ferrari.
I kinda wanna watch this.
Jackie Chan is in it.
What?
Jackie Chan is in it, but he plays a Japanese guy, yet still speaks Chinese. Jamie Farr is in it, playing like a rich Arab guy. And and Farrah Fawcett's in it, and she's not wearing a bra. It's a pretty good movie. Yeah.
That was back when you would just cast an Asian guy and he just
Right,
covered
he covered
all.
everything. Asian, Puerto Rican, whatever he looked like, he was that dude.
What's the
Not a
movie?
lot has changed, unfortunately.
Yeah, not a lot.
What's
no.
Cable Guy? And they were an Asian gang.
All right, we got to talk about Neil Young.
We do, yeah.
This has turned into a bad movie podcast.
Well, I was going to ask if that race, the gumball race, ended at the Golden Gate where they got their feet wet in the ocean.
No.
That was gonna be my segue.
Oh, yeah. That's a good segue. That was pretty good.
Thank you.
All right. Are we talking about Neil now?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good. All right. Let's talk about
Neil.
Neil. Yeah, so Broken Arrow came out in July of 96. And like I said, they lined up these gigs, and he just wanted to get loose with Crazy Horse at these gigs. They're really small clubs. And all that stuff I said about the Way Down in the Rust Bucket stuff was completely wrong. It all applies to this album. So they would bill themselves as the Echoes. There was no advance ticket sales. You had to buy your ticket at the door. It was $20 for a wristband. There was no guest list, so no industry people, nothing. And they had, what I learned yesterday was they had most of these shows during the week. They didn't have them on the weekends. Huh. So they would have them in the middle of the week.
I kind of like that better.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. And then they would set up this kind of tent trailer compound behind the club. And that's where Neil and Crazy Horse would hang out with everybody and smoke tons of weed before they went on.
So fucking cool.
And they would play 3 sets a night, which I'm thinking that's like, 6 hours for Neil Young and Crazy Horse?
Probably.
Or
at least
7.
Yeah, 7 or 8.
7 songs.
Yeah, right.
They just play Tebow 3 times.
7 pointless jams.
Tebow, jeez. T-Bone 3
Well,
times.
if it's the version of T-Bone from Way Down in the Rust Bucket, I'm cool with that. That's the best version right there.
Oh, that's so cool. I don't know why when you said midweek show, it just made me feel so happy. I don't know.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, you wish you were there.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like not that many people. Nobody knows what's up.
Yeah, like a couple hundred people on a Wednesday night watching Neil Young and Crazy Horse.
What a genius, though.
Seriously. Fuck. And what an experience. I get so jealous.
The experience of just seeing him with tens of thousands of people was great.
Right.
You know?
So imagine with like 400 or 500.
Right.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Working your way to the front.
But it is interesting to me that this is his last album with Crazy Horse till for 8 or 9 years, right?
For a while.
Till Greendale, I think.
Yeah.
At this point, how many years has he had Crazy Horse?
It's been through most of the 90s.
How many decades has he
at
done
this
with
point,
these guys?
yeah.
Well, since everybody knows this is nowhere.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, not every other album, but this is his 10th album with them out of, I don't even know how many, out of 22. So half of his albums, which is...
And through most of the 90s, he was with Crazy Horse. He started with Ragged Glory, except for Harvest Moon. But he did a lot of work with Crazy Horse in the 90s.
Speaking of, not Harvest Moon, but how cool was that story that Astra told us?
Oh, yeah, right?
That was fucking cool.
I know. You got to listen to the episode. Yeah, she has some cool stories near the end there.
So
it's pretty awesome.
What about Year of the Horse, though?
That's not Crazy Horse. Is it?
No, Year of the Horse is a documentary about Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean...
Again, Jim Jarmusch did that one.
Yeah, but I guess someone asked us if we were going to cover that.
We should. It's hard to find,
In his
though.
archives,
Is that
it
an
shows
album?
up as the
I
next...
didn't know it was an album.
It is.
In his archives, it shows up as
I
an
have
album.
that on
That's
CD.
Year of the Horse?
Yep.
I have a compact disc of
have
that,
that too,
and I was
yeah.
listening to it last week because you guys had done Weld. And Luke was talking to me about Weld. So I found that in my pile of fucking CDs, and it's not bad.
It's pretty good. The
It's not
documentary's really interesting.
I don't know anything about Year of the Horse, but the only thing I know is that this was his last thing with Crazy Horse until
For a long
Greendale.
time.
So, and
Yeah.
one of his last things, not of the 90s, but one of his...
I think it was the last thing of the 90s.
Was
His
it?
last release of the 90s, I think. He did... When did that Crosby, Stills and Nash album come out?
99.
Looking Forward? Okay, so maybe that was... But not his last solo
he
or
didn't
Crazy
have any
Horse
solo
thing.
albums in between?
Yeah,
Not until Silver and Gold, and I think
Silver
that was
and Gold
2000.
was 2000.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But on the archives, Year of the Horse shows up as an album.
Yeah, well, it's the soundtrack to the movie.
And it's just all... But we're not... Are we covering that? Or
We should cover it.
Yeah, we should cover it.
Yeah, we should
It's
cover
pretty good. It's got some good versions of stuff on it. The movie's excellent if you can find it. It used to be able to rent it on Amazon, but they pulled it off of there.
I wonder if now with his on-demand thing, you can...
He might, yeah. It'll
might.
probably end up there.
Yeah, although I told you guys before we started rolling, I think the song... Or did I tell you that Interstate is not on the archives?
No, you didn't say that.
Okay, it's not.
Oh,
Isn't
okay.
that weird?
Yeah.
It's on YouTube, but it's not on the archives.
Well, you might have to buy up another tier to get it. Right?
You sound a little bitter.
I'm just saying, like, if you read the descriptions of, like, you know, you're the classic tier, and I don't know if you read his message, but, and you folks really are classic. You know, it's like, sorry to fuck you over on another $20, or it's just, that's what it sounds like
It does
to me.
feel like that, yeah.
But I'm going to buy the Rust level anyway, and I'm only buying the Rust level because the patron level, he doesn't clearly explain what you get.
Right.
Says you get some exclusive stuff, but that's it. He doesn't really say what it is.
It's like, Neil, you're a Bernie supporter, but you're a millionaire, and you're fucking us over by making us pay for more of these fucking tiers.
And you just sold your catalog for, what was it?
Oh, yeah, his licensing.
$500 million.
Yeah.
Something like that. But, yeah, you know.
Whatever.
I mean, I'm going to buy it anyway, but
I'm
it's
gonna
just the
buy
way
it
he
too.
put it. Yeah,
He timed it right before we all got our stimulus.
I know, huh? Right? Some of those Reagan years still with him on that one. Anyway, so he had all these gigs, and while they were doing these little club gigs, they were recording back at the ranch. And, you know, like we said at the beginning of the episode, when this album came out, People Magazine said it was one of the worst albums of 1996.
What?
Then again, that's People Magazine.
That's a good point. Right.
You know,
Who was hot then? Jennifer Aniston was on Friends. Like, what
right,
the fuck?
and Vogue was burning it up.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Little
and then
boys were jerking off to En Vogue on MTV.
Why are you being so judgy on that?
Well, I might have been one of them.
All right, I'm just saying, dude. Don't say it like it was gross.
He is a youngster.
Yeah.
He's a youngster.
Come on.
I might be the closest one to your ages out of these boneheads.
Yeah.
That is true.
Spin Magazine said it. Robert Christgau, what does he call himself again? The critic laureate.
Oh,
of
is this the
United
guy who,
States-
like,
rock
titled
critic
himself?
Yeah, something like that.
Dork.
Makes you wonder
Douchebag.
whether Young has grown so confident in his complacency that he could play out his career as solidly and as unceremoniously as, say, Muddy Waters, never dismissed but taken for granted. Like, people just didn't at that time. And I remember reading that when this came out, and a lot of things, like, people were just panning this album left and right, and I just never got that because I liked it from the get-go.
I have the like opposite reaction.
Same.
I'm like blown away that he at this time is still putting out such fucking awesome music.
Yeah.
Like, I know the first two songs are fucking incredible, but even with a song like Scattered or Slip Away, I was like,
Yes.
these are good songs. This is fucking this is great, you know?
There's not a song that I dislike on this whole.
Yeah, I like every song on this album.
When I had to pick a cut song, it was the one song that I was thinking about skipping through the last 2 minutes of. But
Well, which we'll get to at the end.
which we will.
don't
No, I'm
spoil
saying
that, right?
I know we don't spoil it. I'm just saying.
I'm just kidding.
It's all good. And as a fan in '96, as I'd only been a fan for like 4 years, and this really resonated with a 17-year-old weirdo.
Yeah.
Really did.
What were you listening to at the time? Like, aside from Neil Young, like, was
I
there?
think
like,
I had been on like 4 years of collecting records. We didn't have MTV. We didn't have all that stuff. So I was probably Metallica and Pearl Jam. And I had just started getting into like some of the old school country guys, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings and stuff. But
I'm trying to think if I was 17 when this came out, if I would have appreciated it. And I don't know if I would. Now, I think me and Russ have the benefit of hindsight. And also, I keep waiting for one of these albums to not grab me. And in the 90s, it hasn't happened. Everyone is a little bit better than the previous one, in my opinion. It's just...
Really? So you think this is a little bit better than, say, Sleeps with Angels?
Yeah, I do.
And
You think
Ragged
this is
Glory?
better than Ragged Glory?
And okay, so maybe we're so far removed from Ragged Glory.
Okay.
Yeah, I
in
guarantee
the
if you
timeline
listen to
of this,
Ragged
you
Glory
might be
again,
right
you'd
about
be
that.
like, no, never
But
mind.
it's still like, and the reason I texted you guys Loose Change, when he does that fucking 4-minute jam at the end, and it's not you can't even really call it a jam. It's just this like
It's pointless, you know?
It's a pointless jam.
well it
yeah, but I even had it on my notes. Last minute or so is sonic.
it's
Yeah.
like it's raw emotion. It's just insanity, and it just fucks me every
Yeah,
time
it's
I
great.
listen to it.
Well, that's what I love about this particular album the most is sonic is the word right there. It's the way it sounds. It's this lumbering kind of like lava flow going on.
Yeah.
It's super heavy, but not so abrasive.
It's a
to me.
sloppy, slow locomotive. And
Right.
we know about Neil and the locomotive.
Right, there you go. It's
Bingo. That's what I was going
Yes.
for.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what I was saying.
I love that metaphor.
It's a train driven by a bird.
Every time we bring it up, somewhere in the world, the train gets its chug.
It's chug.
Train gets its chug. Imagine if
there's
Neil wrote
a little puff of smoke.
Imagine if Neil wrote "It's a Wonderful Life."
Oh God.
Except an angel, instead of Clarence, it will be a conductor.
Now, Clarence.
His voice wouldn't be that far off either. You know?
Mr. Potter, go fuck yourself.
Mr. Potter. Fuck you. I'm leaving.
But yeah, that's what I love about this album. It's like
Every time you hear a train.
A bird gets a new tit.
Oh no, yeah. Every time you see a bird, a train gets its chug.
And it's not Mr. Potter. It's just Geffen.
oh, it's David Geffen is Mr. Potter. That's perfect.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, this like it's a wall of sound, and it's like this layered, shimmering distortion. It's different from the distortion that was on Ragged Glory or Sleeps with Angels or Rust Never Sleeps, or Freedom. It's this like just bright. It's like it's just to be corny here. It's like the sun when it hits the ocean at sunset, and it's that sparkling. You know what I mean? That's what especially on Slip
You mean the
Away.
land of suntan lotion?
Yes, that's right, Russ.
Yeah.
That's
A lot
actually
of-
a lyric from one of the songs on this album.
Is that
Did
right?
you know that?
Is it really?
I thought I
I
just
didn't
came
know.
up with that.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
Man, my bad.
get your feet wet in the ocean.
But that's
Yeah.
that's why I love this album the most, because
Well,
I
even
love the
though
sound of it.
Yeah, even though, I mean, you're spot on, and even though it can be, as we see with a lot of what these fucking critics are saying, it can be infuriating sometimes. That's one of my favorite things about Neil, is that you can have a sound in a certain album where you're like, oh man, that's fucking, I've never heard anything like that. And then an album later, it's a totally different sound, yet it's still Neil.
Right.
And it's still like, I've never heard anything like that.
Well,
Sound is
Right.
crazy.
Well, like you were
know?
saying, like a song like "Slip Away," you can almost barely hear his lyrics. It's just drowned
Yeah.
out by the guitar.
Yeah.
But you don't. It's not a bad thing. It just works with
Well,
the
see,
song.
a lot of the critics mentioned that you couldn't hear his vocals and you couldn't hear the words. And I'm wondering if it's the same critics who are like jizzing all over albums by bands like My Bloody Valentine and Lush and Dinosaur Jr., which were the same, this wall of distortion, and you could just hear the vocals just above the music enough. But the whole thing was
Right, and
was
like-
just like the music was this one like wave that came
And
at
like
you.
it was like Sonic Youth back in the
Right,
day.
Sonic Youth and
I
stuff like
loved
that.
Sonic Youth, and I still don't know the lyrics.
But all of those,
Sometimes you
all
can't
of
hear
those
it.
It's
people you-
distortion, yeah.
Yeah,
all of those people you mentioned were all influenced by Neil.
exactly.
Of course they were, and
They
they
ended
would
up
say it.
covering him.
Yeah,
Of course.
right.
And
Exactly.
they
Playing
did.
with him.
Yeah.
Is this his first self-produced album?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
I feel like it might be.
It might be.
I would find that hard to believe, actually. After this 22 albums in.
Yeah, but usually it lists the producer, and
Yeah,
we
we'd
almost
have to
always
go
talk
back
about
through
it.
and look at each thing.
Yeah.
But this is
It's
the
his
only
first
one
in
that
a
says
while, at
produced
least.
by Neil Young.
So this is Neil without Briggs, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Briggsless Neil.
And you can feel it.
Right.
And I don't think in a bad way.
I think there's an edge that's not there.
Really?
Yeah. No, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but there's
Okay.
like if you listen to something like Ragged Glory, or say another, I'm thinking of albums that are similar in structure and sound, or Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. You know,
Okay.
you listen to
Yeah.
some of those Briggs productions. There's some sort of edge to it. And this one, it seems like the edges have been smoothed out. And again, I don't mean that in a negative way, because I love the way the album sounds.
I don't know if it's edgeless as much as you can. It feels like Neil knows he's on his own. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
No. Yeah. That's. Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, because you mentioned that quote earlier where he said, I just wanted to get an album under my belt without Briggs.
It feels like he's wandering. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's kind of wandering through this album. And again,
that's a theme on this album, too.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like you said,
change highways.
Directionless, you know. He's just kind of-
Pointless jams.
Yeah.
Which kind of
So
like,
what? Yeah, that's...
It might
I mean,
Well, no, you had the point earlier.
Yeah.
What's the point of a jam?
Yeah, I
it's
mean-
just a jam. There's no end game. You're just going with it.
Yeah, you're just
right?
going... And that's Neil.
Yeah.
Especially, like you guys are kind of alluding to here, is that he is in this fucking on his own. I mean, he's got the horse, but... You know,
and he's got all the other people. He's got like
Yeah,
Jim
of course,
Mulligan in
yeah.
there and stuff, but he doesn't. Briggs had a presence.
Briggs, was a whole other energy, a whole other element to
yeah.
Neil. You know that
Element is a good word.
Yeah,
You know what? That
he's on the periodic table.
Right, he is. Yeah, Briggsonian.
It's pissing me off more and more. That the music critic. I can't wait till. Hopefully, we're gonna get a music critic on here for one of these monster episodes because I would be so curious. And I know it's different in 2021 than it would be in the mid 90s or the 80s or the 70s, but like, Pointless Jam is such a fucking stupid thing to write. And what's the point of anything? What's the point of this?
Well, that questions it makes me question their research.
Right.
Like, is this like the first time they're
Do you not
listening?
know who Neil Young
Right.
is?
Is this the first time they're listening to Neil? You know, did they want another Harvest Moon? You know, the same thing he ran into in the 70s.
What are you putting it up against?
Right.
Are you putting it up against other Neil stuff?
Right. Are you putting it up against Harvest
what was
Moon?
at the time?
Yeah, if you're putting up
What
against
else came
Harvest
out that
Moon,
year?
yeah, that's the wrong thing to do. This type of
Because then you don't,
yeah.
and then like we just made the point. Most of everything else, the other bands you mentioned that were happening at that time, were all inspired by Neil.
Yeah, that whole
So
alternative
you kinda
rock
can't,
sound.
You know, there's no way to avoid it. You know, and so, and I'm not saying that Neil shouldn't be critiqued like anyone else. It's just
we do it on this podcast.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There just has to be some awareness, you know, of the realm that you're in. You
Right,
know?
yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
Do they know who they're writing about?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's,
Yeah.
Like-
we're questioning that.
So Mike, you were a Neil fan at the time this album came out.
Right.
Did you listen to this as it came out?
Yeah.
Did you?
I got a free promo copy
Were you
because
you
I
on
was
the
I was
air at the
working in
time?
radio. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Did you like? What was your initial thoughts on it?
I thought it was great because this is the kind of Neil I like. First of all, I like Neil with Crazy Horse more than anything else, and this is the kind of Crazy Horse I like. The long jams.
Yeah, I like Neil with Ben Keith.
I know, yeah, but like
We're well aware.
the insane
know that.
guitar playing. You know,
Well, that's the
I
thing about
loved it.
Neil. It's tough, man. It's tough to like. I fucking love him with Crazy Horse, but then I'm like, I want him with Ben Keith too, and he's just given us so many different things.
I'm almost 50-50.
Yeah.
I think I'm with Mike though because I love him with Ben Keith.
I
I love him
always
with,
said Crazy Horse was me. Then I listened
Really?
to all your episodes and listened to everything and re-listened to everything, and I'm 50-50 now.
It's something about Crazy Horse just brings.
That's what I
out
love doing
the,
about this.
The most real Neil. Does that?
No, that's
That's what it feels like to me.
because of who they are, and he can
Yeah.
only get that sound with them. He's played with, he played with Booker T and the MGs. He played with the what was the rhythm section with Freedom, and he used them later on. They were with the Blue Notes, the guys from Joe Walsh's band.
Yeah, fuck. I don't know.
Chad, whatever. And anyway, he's played with different bands and stuff. He can only get a sound like this and Ragged Glory.
I
and
disagree
everybody knows
because
this is
Tonight's the
nowhere.
Night wasn't Crazy Horse, and that is one of those like classic.
No,
Neil
it's
sounds.
great, but I think.
Well, Tonight's the Night had Ralphie and Billy on it.
I know, but it wasn't.
okay.
It wasn't Horse in the same way that this is Horse.
No,
Yeah, but
no.
That's
you
if
don't-
anything, that's Ben Keith and Horse. So that's best of all of it.
Right. And
if you're
Nils.
not listening
And
to,
Nils.
to
Yeah.
the end of Loose Change, that last 2 minutes where you check the time and you're like, there's still 2 minutes of this, and you don't get literal
No,
goosebumps.
I agree. It's just I also get those same goosebumps listening to On the Beach. They're just
I get
different
different- I get
goosebumps.
different
That's
goosebumps,
that's
but
why
I'm saying-
Chris makes a good
It
point.
is
It's
true.
50-50.
They are different goosebumps.
It's different goosebumps.
They're still
but
goosebumps.
That's what's beautiful about
Listen,
Neil
the
is
bottom line is that a goose is a bird, and I want to make sure you
That's
have
right.
a bird-like reaction.
Let's not forget that we're talking about a fucking bird here.
That's the real point I'm trying to make. Talk about pointless jams. The only point I want to make is that a fucking goose is a bird.
Listen, if your goosebumps don't have tits on them, then they're not real goosebumps.
And
I heard that bird was Canadian.
And somewhere, a train just got its chug. Jarmusch, what do you got for me?
Mike, pour us another round of those fucking big
Those
times.
shitty drinks.
Another big time here.
What I think is beautiful about Neil is whether it is the, whether it is the fucking, the realness, like you're right, that you get with him and the horse, whether it be with Briggs or without, as we're now discovering, or him with Ben and Nils, or just Ben, or whatever other version of a band that Ben is in.
Right.
Or The Harvest, which is another Ben. There's so many different versions to choose from, and they all give you different types of goosebumps. And I think what we're putting on the table here is like Horse and Ben Keith in whatever regard. Different types of goosebumps. It's all like kind of what mood are you in? Because sometimes I'm not in the mood for like sometimes I would rather hear Neil with the Horse in this type of way or Rag of Glory. And then other times, all I want is a Ben Keith, him and a Ben Keith type of thing. And it switches. It depends on my mood, where the sun is, if it's raining, or where I'm driving, or you know what I mean? I might be fucking crazy saying this shit, but to me, that's what's fucking incredible
But it just
about.
might be a lunatic we're looking for, Russ.
Don't Billy Joel this. The fuck did you just do?
Yeah,
Sorry.
that was
Those
good.
were reverse goosebumps.
You just derailed the titty bird train.
Reverse goosebumps.
It's all good.
Those
Such a
are-
funny gun. You don't like
Those
Billy
are
Joel?
bump geese.
Billy Joel's got some good songs.
I've got
I saw him live. He's
a serious Billy Joel problem. I don't know
Hold
why.
on, hold on.
What do you mean? Like
I
you
like-
wanna-
I
Luke, aren't
like
you
Billy
aren't
Joel.
you a
Oh, you
fan
like
of
him.
Community?
Oh,
I do.
okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why.
Well, he writes good songs.
What's wrong with Billy Joel? What's wrong with Piano Man?
No. I'm not saying I don't like Billy Joel. It's just weird to bring Billy Joel into a
Fucking-
discussion.
Right? Yeah, it is weird. I feel
Saturday, I
it all
said I'm
feels
sorry,
wrong.
It
man.
felt wrong.
Feels wrong.
I'm not saying I don't like Billy Joel. I saw him live at Fenway. It was fun. It was a great show. He hasn't written a new song in like 30
Doesn't
years.
have to.
He
doesn't
told
have to.
everybody he wasn't gonna.
Right.
He goes, I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
I'm just
Right
going to play
anymore,
my
son.
hits and
I
make a
did
ton
it.
of money. At least he's being up.
Yeah,
front.
exactly.
He's honest.
Listen, Billy Joel's got some
See,
good
this is
tunes.
what I mean. You don't do this. Now we're talking about Joel. And I don't want to talk about Joel.
Well, now I
I
wanna-
want to talk about Billy Talbot.
No, you want to talk about Ben Keith. That's all you
That's
want to talk
that's
about.
all I want to talk about. No,
We only
the horse
play
is awesome
80s
in this,
Joel,
man.
man.
That whole I know. We're gonna,
All I said is I prefer the horse. That's all. And then all of a sudden we're talking about fucking honesty. It's such a lonely word. You know?
can you please hit that bag of dicks thing?
Jesus Christ. You're giving me a heart attack. Gack, 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 gack.
You had to be a big shot, didn't you?
Dad, I'm
man?
going to put a dick in my mouth.
Oh, God.
You had to put a dick in your mouth.
Out of birds.
There we go. Should we get into these songs? We're
Yeah,
an
let's
hour
get into
in
the
here.
songs.
Yeah, let's get into the songs. Do you want to take a?
Yeah, let's take a break so I
take a
can
little
eat this sub and
I
clear
ate-
my
I ate
palate
half
of
of
that
it.
fucking piss I drank.
So
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Yeah.
That's why I ate that half of the
Yeah.
stuff.
we're gonna take a break, but when we come off the break, if this is cool with you guys, I'd rather play the beginning of Interstate. I wish I could play this whole song.
We
wish you
get
could,
sued.
I know but I mean, even that you guys can hear it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so my thought on this song. This is a near perfect album, for as much as everyone says it's unfinished and kind of wandering. If he had replaced that Jimmy Reed song with this, I think it would have been literally a perfect album.
You know what? Someone probably said those exact words to him.
Oh shit, you're
And
right.
then he said, "Hey, Timmy,
Remember you were using that old AV Club tape recorder you found in that junk pile when they destroyed the middle school? And then you recorded the show with it? We'll put that version, we'll put that on the, it's probably because that's through his whole career. You hear stories like that, like, hey, this song's going to be a hit. And then he either fucks it up or just doesn't record it.
It's so if you guys have a chance, it's on YouTube. Just look up Neil Young Interstate. It's fucking something about it. You hear Briggs in it. You hear Neil's sorrows in it. I'm going to read a few more Facebook things because this song made me think of it. But Paul Gase says, "Missing Briggs. You can hear it in the murky mix and missed potential. Many good songs that are not elevated to greatness by the performances." And then Chris Boudreau, who's another top fan, says, "Roll a big joint and play big time and loose change at high volume. Nothing like getting lost in those earth-shaking jams that go on and on. Scattered and Slip Away are also favorites. Some really good horse here." So
yeah, I think that song Interstate would have been out of place.
I feel the opposite. I feel like it would have balanced the beginning with the huge jams that I love. I think it would have been the perfect ending to this scattered.
Yeah, but you do have Music Arcade in there,
That's true. But
that sounds completely. That's really sparse compared to that.
It's not necessarily a sad song either. And this is like a sad. I don't know.
I think it moved along nicely. I wasn't bothered by the
Jimmy Reed tune.
Jimmy Reed I loved it.
I actually like that a lot too.
I like it too.
I wasn't bothered by it, but I just think this would have really, because I hear, and again,
although
I think that sounds really beautiful. Yeah, I would love.
Heard the whole thing.
It would be like the opposite of, how he threw Like a Inca on the end of was it Life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it would be the opposite of that to me, where it just contrasted the beginning of the album.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't
know.
Yeah.
Wasn't Like an Inca on Trans?
No, was it? Maybe it was.
Yeah.
What was at the end of Life that I'm thinking of? But same
Inca
idea.
Queen.
Inca Queen.
Oh, Inca Queen. Yeah.
Damn it.
No, Like an Inca is.
That was the
last.
That ended
Mike's
Trans.
Right. Mike's right.
Oh yeah.
Remember,
right.
Trans started out with those two songs he recorded in Hawaii, and they sounded like kind of folky, kind of 60s tunes, and then in between that all. We talked about that. Like, get rid of the. We get rid of those tunes, and you make
an
EP.
It's right after Mr.
The
Soul.
electronic stuff,
And then Like an Inca, yeah.
I just think that, listening to Interstate, maybe he didn't want to end it on that because, we've mentioned it previously that this album's kind of has a mournful sound to it.
Well, it was on the vinyl that came out.
Right. It was an extra song on the
which
vinyl.
I've tried to find, and I can't find one cheaper for like $160. Oh. Yeah. Do you don't have a vinyl of this?
No.
Really?
I love this album, and I'm saying like maybe $60-$70 if I can find it.
Yeah.
Well,
it's pretty rare.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Till I looked.
Let's hit big time.
You want to get right into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty.
It's only like an hour in.
Oops.